exactly what he was calling me for. And without thinking, I just walked into that back room. He handed me the crack pipe, and I smoked the crack, and then I put it down, had a drink, and I thought, shit, what have I done? You know, I really felt, you know, they call the thing shit, and I felt like shit. You know, I felt dirty, I felt weak, I felt soft. Not that being soft is a bad thing. Being soft in the right way is a good thing, and being soft in the wrong way is a bad thing. And
How old are you at this point?
I beg your pardon?
How old is you at this point?
I was, say about, 50. Yeah, 50. Yeah, and 50, 49, 50, yeah. And after that, I thought, I could see the play. I says, my gosh, now it's either I start going out there now to go and steal, to find money, and all this and that, to continue with what we've started here.
Yeah.
But I've got a meeting to attend to. I'm the greeter, and this and that as well. And if I remember, yes, I do have some money, but the money, most of it isn't. I left it at the second stage place of rehab, or third stage they call it, you know, before you're given your own flat of your own.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought, now I'm going to go back to that meeting. I've got to go to that meeting. I'm not going back out there on the street and go and steal or rob or whatever to carry on here in this back room nonsense here. And so I left. You know, I didn't feel proud of myself because I felt I'd been weakened already. I was riddled with guilt and shame, regret and remorse. You know, like I wanted to kill him. You know what I mean? But it's not, I had enough sense to know it's not his fault, it was my decision. I am responsible. That's the thing I learned in rehab as well. I am responsible for everything I've done. You know, just because I was beaten as a child and abused so terribly by my father and mother and blah, 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 playing those violins, it doesn't mean to say, it doesn't give me an excuse to behave in a certain manner.
That's right.
And it's not his fault, you know, he's an addict clearly, and I succumbed to his offer, and I'm responsible. And that responsibility, it really weighed me down with depression. You know what I mean? And with like an anger too, with the guilt and shame and remorse and regret. Why did I come here? Why did I have to do this? You know, I went to the NA meeting in Horse Ferry Road, and paranoid. I wonder if people can see that I've taken, you know, crack, you know, when they look into my eyes or something. And can they smell the alcohol of my breath? You know what I mean? I gotta keep a certain distance, and oh man, and also at that meeting was an opportunity for me to come clean and say, look, I'd like to share that I had a crack pipe today, smoked that, and I had a few drinks, and I'm staying in a place for after rehab, the second or third stage before you get a place, and I'm really demolished, and you know, and absolutely feel hopeless and weak, you know, and full of guilt and shame, regret and remorse. But I didn't share anything like that at all, where I could have got the support of those around me. They really would, because that's how it's like in NA or AA.
Yeah.
Someone would have even come home with me, and you know, and so forth. Or I might even get an invitation to go and stay at someone's house for a few days or something like that. Things like that. You know, keep with those who are clean, to stay clean. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I was quick to get away from the meeting with my secret. And as I know, we're sick as our secrets. So because I kept that secret, when I got back to that place there, which is now a dry house, you call it as well, because all the people from there who live there actually came out the same rehab that I did, waiting to be rehoused. And So keeping that secret, next thing you know, I got home say by 10, 11 o'clock, and I found myself going to Brixton. Got the money out from wherever I had it hidden, and I went to Brixton, scored some crack, went back there, smoked it, and I found myself going out again to Brixton to buy some more. By that time now it's like 4 or 5 in the morning, you know, and blah, 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 and, you know, getting the cab back and all that sort of thing. And I was spraying aftershave, you know, all in the room and, you know, around by the door area and all that sort of thing to, you know, because I was aware that I was in a dry house there. And man, I was so paranoid. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't have no, you know, it was a waste of money, waste of everything. The whole exercise, I didn't really and truly, it was a terrible thing. I just got nothing out of it at all. It didn't, you know, I didn't even get a lift. I didn't even go into the twilight zone, if you know what I'm saying. And, you know, everything was so subdued. And, you know, after I finished that, there was the fear of being caught because you could get tested at any time and randomly tested for drugs in your system, you know, via your urine test and so on. And so I started to drink a lot of vinegar and lemon and all that sort of thing to detox my blood and so on and so forth. And lo and behold, yeah, that happened on the Sunday, and by the Tuesday, I was asked to produce a urine test. Tuesday, or was it Monday? It was very soon after that. No, I think it was the Tuesday. Yeah, and well, I've had 24 hours of drinking lemon and this and that. I don't expect it to come back positive, but it did. And I suppose because, well, crack is harder to leave the system than cocaine, you see. And lo and behold, it says, look, you got to leave here immediately. You know, the thing is positive. There's no compromise there. You got to leave immediately, pack everything you got and leave, please, and report to the homeless persons unit in Wandsworth. Right, okay. So I just packed everything I had, which fitted into one black bin bag, you know, and so this is all I'm worth here, you know, this is my life for everything I've got, you know, in one black bin bag. I said, look at that. Then I was waiting across the road opposite the house. There was a bus stop. I was waiting for that bus to take me into Wandsworth to the housing, rehab place, homeless people's place. And and they said they gave me a letter to ask them that please let this man reside in a place where he won't be so vulnerable because because I'm in recovery and blah blah blah. At Wandsworth, they allocated me to a place called Emscote Hotel in Balham, which was riddled with addicts and alcoholics. You know, really and truly, it had some clean people in there with their babies and all that. But so that's where I ended up, and so the habit then just spiraled. You know, my relapse continued. You know, while I was there.
Wow.
You know, and yes, I was, and I returned to criminal activities to get the money to finance that. It was mainly shoplifting again, or the occasional robbery somewhere. And my God Almighty, I remember one day climbing up the stairs in that hotel, and I could barely walk up the stairs. And I remembered what they said. They said, when you relapse, you don't, it's not like you start all over again and you're all strong and fit like when you first started. You go back to where you came from. You return to that state you were in, wherever you left, And so, or worse.
Wow.
Or worse. And this is why a lot of people in relapse die. Because things have got worse, and it was so bad in the first place. Now it's got to the point of death itself.
Sometimes the body starts relying on it.
That's right. And it's not just the body, but the brain as well.
The brain as well. So I'm glad that, because I thought that from you went to rehab, that was,
that was it. No, that wasn't it at all. No, that wasn't the end of the matter. So
it's the important part of rehab to life.
Yes, and so really this is very important because I said, my God, look what's happened here. I'm smoking crack, I'm drinking alcohol. The manager of the hotel, Emscote Hotel, which has been knocked down now, he was a functioning alcoholic, He was drinking from morning till night, vodka. But he managed to function. He always had dark glasses on, and he was an ex-lifer, he'd done life in prison. And he used to puff his chest out because, he don't take crack and cocaine, he just drinks alcohol, so he was doing better than those who did. And I met another guy Brian, who I befriended, and really quiet soul. You can see the decent man in him, but he was a slave to alcohol. He couldn't stop, and he was waiting to go into rehab. And I, drank with him on a regular basis, and I remember having, stolen some money from wherever I've stolen it. I'd called the crack man, and he says, "Oh, meet me over in the forest there. There's some place there where, it's like a forest kind of area where people, it's like a park, but it's very, very bushy and very, full of trees. It's like the woods, what I mean? And meet him over there." Nah, joking, eh? Well, obviously you can't come to Emscote Hotel because if you didn't come in before midnight, you were locked out, and so anyway, I went over there in the dark, and hey, where are you? And hey, over there. I never found him to this day. I left, I left the woods. I said, "No, man, I ain't running around in this woods there like that. I can't see where I'm going, and all this and that, and blah, blah, blah." I thought this would be a quick thing that y'all just meet here to, I don't know why you want to come in here in the first place. I thought, well, maybe he's homosexual or something.
Yeah, maybe.
And stuff like that, and because I understand, they meet up in places like this. Nah, this is, I think I'm going to leave here. And so I left and just got it later on in the morning. But I found myself now also going at the back of supermarkets, because I discovered they used to throw a lot of food out, and a lot of the food is still good, and so on and so forth. And I thought, wow, this is great. That money I spend on food, I can now buy crack with it, and I just helped myself to bits and pieces, and kept going. And then at the same time, I had this desire to live a sober life, so to speak. So I went to see the social worker at St. George's Hospital, over by Tooting Broadway, on that side there. And I asked him for help, and he says, "Nah, he doesn't think so. They've paid for St. Luke's, and and now you've relapsed." He wasn't convinced that it was worth pursuing any more rehabs. And so I continued my drug habit and crime that went with it.
So they turn people away from rehab also, yeah?
Oh yes, they can turn it down. It's not everybody gets financed into rehab.
Wow.
And also I understand that they have to be choosy because you can't be wasting your money all the time just throwing it at
It's true.
willy-nilly.
People that don't want to change, yeah.
Yeah, people don't want to change, or they're just using the system just to get their own way, or some people might just use it to get away from a gang who's looking them for their money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Escape into rehab, come out, you get a new address, everything, blah, blah, blah. All that kind of thing. So I went there a second time, and he refused again. And I went there a third time, and he says, okay, all right, we're going to help you. We're going to send you to a rehab in Camden Town. But I can see you're determined to recover. And God only knows, he probably could smell my breath of alcohol, and so on and so forth. And even when you're on drugs, sometimes you think no one can, tell anything. But, especially probably if he's an ex-user himself, because a lot of people in these jobs are ex-users and so on and so forth. So he was convinced now, and they backed me, and I went to a rehab in St. Augustine's Road in Camden Town.
Yeah.
For 6 months. Yeah. And which I was really grateful for. Before I left Emscote Hotel, I went for the interview at the rehab and met a nice lady there who interviewed me, a counselor, and came back, says, well, you got to come back in a month's time or something like that, or 2 weeks time, whatever it was. And the partner said, well, you better have a good drug up before you go back and all that sort of thing. I carried on with the habit, and then when I got to the rehab, yes, it was my understanding that you've got to be clean, to enter the rehab. You go through a piss test, a urine test, and anyway, the urine test came back and it showed traces of coke in it, but she said it's low enough to allow you in. It wasn't high, it was very, very low, really. I said, well, thank God for that. And I just buckled down and started going AA and NA meetings again, around the Hampstead and Camden Town area, so on and so forth. And from there, I met a lady who I ended up having a relationship with, although we were advised, it is advised when you're in recovery not to have a relationship with anyone for at least the first year. Have a relationship with yourself. Have a relationship with a pot plant. Get a cat or a dog. Learn to look after that. And learn to look after yourself most of all. Have some discipline and look after yourself before you go into relationships. And I say, well, why is this? This too many people have used a relationship as their higher power, and so on and so forth, and relying on that to keep them well, clean and sober. And when it doesn't work out, it triggers them straight back into addiction, and it made sense, But however, I thought, well, I've been how many months now? I thought, well, I just thought I was just ignorant. I still had that ignorance, which is a self-destructive trait as well.
But you'd be different.
Yeah, it's different for me and all that. I haven't had a girlfriend for years, because ever since I've been on this drug and drinking thing, I haven't really, had a girlfriend. I didn't want a girlfriend who drank and took drugs. I could have had many of those. But I didn't want any of those. I thought, well, that's double trouble. That says now. And then again, I couldn't get a clean and sober one. What's a clean and sober woman want to do with a drunken, druggy like myself? So I hadn't had a girlfriend for a long time, for years. So I thought, well, So I got together with this lady who was 7 years clean and sober, and to me that was like, wow. You know, it's like a miracle.
Yeah, of course.
But then I learned to understand that every day was a miracle that I kept clean and sober.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and on the way to these meetings, I wrote songs. The first song I ever wrote, I was on my way to a gospel oak meeting from that overhead train from Camden Road Station, and I wrote the song, The Walk of Shame. You know, I walked in the rain all night until dawn, got soaked to the skin, an explosion within, straight to my head. I thought that I was dead. The walk of shame came when you walked out in me, and I was left alone in despair and misery. The walk of shame. You know, yeah, that was the first song.
Very good vocals.
Yeah, on the way to, like I said, an AA meeting, and that was a recollection of when I was living in Putney, really, when a girlfriend I had at the time, she lived in West Hampstead, and she came over to visit me, and I was cooking a meal, and suddenly I had a craving for crack, you know, and I said, shit, I better get some crack. And I didn't want to smoke crack in front of her, I never did, you know, and so on and so forth. And but I drank, you know, we drank together, but no coke and no crack.
But that's what made you want it, maybe.
Maybe, you know, and well, you know, it's that self-destructive trait, really. He uses any excuse. Oh, it's a lovely day, let's have some. Yes, oh, this day, no, it's what an ugly day, let's have some. You know, something good happened, let's have some. Something bad happened, let's have some. You know, something in between good and bad happened, let's have some. Any excuse, and you know, really and truly,
What happened? Let's say you got
so I had this craving, and so I just turned the fire down really low. I said, darling, I need to go and get some ingredients, more ingredients for the meal, you know, and I'll be back in half an hour. And instead I went over to the Winstanley estate over by Clapham Junction there, you know, and scored some crack and came back and pretended. I said, oh, they didn't have what we wanted in the shop, you know, and all the rest of it. Ah, shit, you know. Anyway, and then I turned the thing down even lower and slipped into the bathroom to hit the crack pipe.
How did the milk come out?
Well, the thing is, before we got to that, when I did eventually come out of the bathroom, which seemed like I'd only been in there for 5 minutes, but probably it was more like half an hour or more. You know, it could have all been an hour or more. You know, when you smoke the crack, it's like time just goes. And you think it's 5 minutes later, and it's like, could be 5 hours later. It depends where you travel to, mentally, and so on. And when I came out, I said, what, the front door was wide open, looked in the lounge, the woman was gone. I said, my gosh. And that's what caused me to write The Walk of Shame, because I remember I walked out of the flat and walked around, you know, and it was raining, and the guilt and shame and regret and remorse I felt that was horrendous, you know, and I never saw her again. As a matter of fact, you know. Yeah, so that's where the walk of shame came from. And, you know, but But from rehab, I shared that at the AA meeting, at the same Gospel Oak meeting, as a matter of fact. That I've got no money. I'm a singer, songwriter, poet, author, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've written this song. I'd like to record it. I guess I'll do it as soon as I get some money. I'll be so glad to record it. And after the meeting, a brother Robin came to me and said, listen, I'm going to book you a studio, an engineer, and you go there and record that song. It's all paid for. Really? Yeah, thank you, Robin. Thank you very much. Over in Hammersmith. Thank you very much, Robin. And he said, if there's any more you want to do, just let me know.
Amazing.
I'll back you up. And look, this is the power of God, our Creator. This is the higher power at work here, showing me, look, I'll support you, but just keep going in the right direction. Because I remember asking God, my higher power, our Creator, what shall I do? And I heard the voice say, just use the talents that I gave you. Don't worry about money and this and that. Just use the talents that I gave you. Don't worry about anything else. So this is what I started to do. And after that tune, The Walk of Shame, I remember passing by the girlfriend I had at the time from AA, and she listened to it in her car, on her car CD player, and said, yeah, it's a nice song, nice tune, and so forth. And so that gave me more strength to go on. After that, that rehab I was in Camden Town in St. Augustine's Road, there was a guy in there called Gary, a brother who is really almost on the point of tears. I said, what's the matter, Gary? He says, oh, that woman, I said, which woman? He says, my girlfriend, your girlfriend. I says, yeah, what's the matter? Why, she's not responding to his calls and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, invite her to the rehab, to come and see her and have a chat. And he says, he can't. I said, how do you mean you can't? She lives in America. I says, have you ever met her? He says, no. I said, where did you meet her then? She says, on the internet. I said, my goodness gracious, and you love her like that so much. To me, it's obsession, it's infatuation, you know what I mean? It's not love.
Convenience.
Yes, but so that inspired me to write the song. Love on the internet, do you really love me? Love on the internet, let's just wait and see. I wrote that song there, and I think the first verse goes, it's such a thriller to see you on the screen. You know what I mean. As time goes by, these feelings get so high. I spread my wings and started to fly. I spread my wings and I started to fly. Got on a train just to see you again. Please don't ask me why. I just had to give it a try. Love on the internet, do you really love me?
Let's get into it.
Yes, brother. And so that one went down, and by that time now, got that recorded in a studio in someone's back garden. They'd converted what was probably a shed and a garage, whatever, into recording studio, very luxuriously. Like a 12-foot, 20-foot long.
Mixing this?
No, a couch in there, leather couch in there, and shag pile carpet, and the mixing desk was huge, huge as well, and you got the drum booth, and you got the vocal booth, and all that kind of thing. And they were employees of BMG, Sony BMG, at the time, and even the engineer was also an employee of Sony BMG as well, and he worked with me on the first track as well. Actually, he took me to that other studio. I recorded 2 tracks at Hammersmith. There was the first one, which was The Walk of Shame, and then I Function, was the second one, and then we moved on. The third track was at that studio in Collingwood.
Have you put them up?
No, they've been recorded and all that sort of thing, and the truth about that matter is that after so many years and compiling all these songs and recording and so on, I got together with this brother I have known for 40 odd years, and so really and truly, he's got a record company. He's worked with some top reggae artists through his label and all the rest of it, and we're going to work together, put this album out. His contribution towards that was simply to give it a remaster, which cost him £250. Anyway, I got a bad vibe about the whole thing, and there was a lot of things involved here. I've got a lot of bad vibes about it, concerning him and his ways, and also I had confided in my soul father, who I had a soul father from the Ethiopian Orthodox Twahedo Church, which I recently joined at the time, and when I poured my heart out, he says, "No, you mustn't do any business with this man. This is no good." And also I looked deeper into it. I said, "Well, I'm in recovery, and this and that, and mixing with certain, I'm not supposed to be mixing with certain types of people, and all the rest of it." And also, and therefore, it's not conducive, it's not compatible, with my new way of life, and so on and so forth. And differently speaking, I told him, "Well, listen, brother, he doesn't live over here anymore. He lives over there, across the pond, and I'm not going to call his name or say where across the pond he lives, but anyway, people could find that out in my book anyway. But the fact of the matter is that I told him over the phone, look, I'm not going to go with you any further. There's nothing can do. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's just, I'm not going to go with you any further along with this. I don't business or care about what, even if I sign that that you can have 35% of this and that or blah, blah, blah. It's not happening because I'm not going with you any further. I don't have to tell you that all you've invested is £250, whereas I've invested thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. It took me over 4 years to produce. I calculated I'd spent about 40 grand. You know what I'm saying? And so on, and got the musicians and got this and that. Anyways, it's okay. I didn't go into all that, but in myself I said, well, really and truly. So he says, well, what about my royalties? I says, brother, the best. I says, there's people who spend money with me. They spend a lot more than you. And at the beginning where they really supported me, I wouldn't give him the figure what he spent. He knows what he spent. He spent £250 in a remaster. And what about my royalties? I says, nah. I says, what I'll do, I says, is that when the music comes out, I'll, according to its success, and please God, it's successful, I'll pay you back the money, and I'll give you that you invested, and with some on top of it. And that's that. And that was the end of the conversation. Anyway, I myself, sometimes I still wasn't really happy with the music, and I thought, well, what else can we, do? Maybe we ought to even remaster the thing again, or something, or even get some of the files and, go through some of the tracks again that we got the files for and so on. And so I just...
and this is all process of you getting, trying to focus on something away from the addiction?
No, it was something that I needed to do. I felt I had a purpose to record this album. All these songs that I wrote was from Rehab. And they were all geared to, they were all messages in there.
This was the second time Rehab or the first?
That was at the second Rehab that I had attended in Camden Town. I wrote all these songs while I was there. And recorded them, most of them while I was there. Or was it all of them while I was there? Because it was 6 months. And, but I went and did further work after I left Rehab, on the same tunes. And so anyway, about, I don't know, maybe a year or so later, or 18 months later after having that conversation, I thought, well, maybe we ought to just, release the album now, release a track off of it or something. So I asked a brother to look on, check out PRS, to see, how the things were registered, because I had entrusted the brother before to have, all the stuff registered with PRS, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the brother said to me, who's this? They said they're claiming 100% for love on the internet, 85% for iFunction, 70% for walk of shame, 50% for this one. But most of them they claimed between 70 to 100%, for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I says, now these are people who say that they're my friends and blah, blah, blah. And I thought they were encouraging and all that, and they were bigging me up and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it was just a ruse, just a way to just, as some people say, you got a lot of pimps in the music business, you know what I mean? They just want to pounce off of artists. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, you sound good, you're great, man, you're big, blah, blah, you have potential and this and that, while they thief all your money. And he said, yeah, it was good, and so I thought, my God, had I released that album there, thinking, well, the royalties I'll be getting the crumbs, I'll be getting most of the money. And even on certain tracks, they're getting everything. I says, my goodness and gracious me. So that is something that I'm still, I'm still pursuing all that. I did get in touch with PRS and got in touch with them and all this and that, and they were rather arrogant. Oh, well, like as I was saying, what we've done for you and this and that. What did they do for me? You know what I'm saying? What did they really do for me? They didn't produce the album. They didn't engineer it. They didn't, what I'm saying? They didn't suggest that I start the album in the first place, what did they really do? But this is the kind of corruption that I was dealing with. It made it clear to me that my gut feeling was correct about them, and it was confirmed by my soul father. And I'm glad that I no longer have any ties with them, at all, really. Really and truly, I wish them all the best and so on and so forth. But what's the point? I know who you are, and you're not a friend, simple as that.
So when did you completely give up the addiction?
Well, when did I completely give up the addiction was at the time when I actually was going to meetings on this side of the pond here, of the river rather. That's when I I wasn't drinking, I wasn't smoking, I wasn't drugging at all, and from that rehab there I spent 6 months in Camden Town. Then I got a place just up the road from there, third stage housing, and from there, I simply enrolled at a college on a music business course and did that. I was recommended by the tutor there to do some voiceovers, so I did some voiceovers as well. I did some voiceovers, a demo of that, sent it to the BBC and various other companies and other channels. And the BBC actually called me. They called my girlfriend from there actually, because I gave that as my contact number. They want to see me at their offices. I went there and the man said to me, what's his name again? Bozio, Eddie Bozio was his name. And he said to me, we like your voice, and we'd like to give you all, we'd like you to present all the Black History programs. You're in Black History, in Black History Month. I said, that's great. Thank you very much. But he said, but before that, we'd like you to present a program called On the Watchtower. It's about Jehovah's Witnesses living up in northern England, up in Hull somewhere like that, in northern England. I said, thank you very much. It's at Unique Studios. Which was off the Edgware Road, somewhere around there at the time, near Marble Arch. And I went there and I presented the program for 45 minutes for BBC One Extra in my earlier days in recovery. And yes, and also at the music school where I went to study music business, at the chocolate factory at Wood Green. The tutor there actually was a big artist once himself, and they had a hit. And anyway, somehow he left the business in a dramatic fashion. He said he didn't like the dishonesty and the corruption and people just being around him for money. And he said one day he took all the money he had in the house and he made sure they saw him, burn it all in the fire, so no one can come and ask him for it, because he realized everybody just want money, money's coming in. And he burnt all the money and all this, and then they just fled and left him alone.
What color?
His name was Bush, something Bush, yes, but his name is Mark, Mark Roberts is his name.
Mark Roberts? Was he a DJ? What was he a DJ like?
Probably, he never mentioned that to me, but probably because he's got that talent, But anyway, he actually, what's his name? From Labyrinth, Timmy. He came to the course. Okay. But his mother was on the course, and his elder sister was on the same music business course. Okay. He had a brother who was a famous drummer, playing drumming, with top bands, and then he lost some money. Anyway, the mother, she was their manager, and so on and so forth. And
he's got Labyrinth, his brother.
Labyrinth, Labyrinth,
I work with him as well.
Yes, and they, he used to come and sit in the corner. He wasn't actually part of the class, but I think his mother was trying to make sure he keep out of trouble. Come with me, because he was just a teenager then and all that sort of. But I remember towards the end of the music business course, we had to do write a song, produce some music, you know, and that was with a group here. And his sister Cheryl was in my group, you know, and her other sister as well, who was also a singer too.
She was on The Voice recently, Shez.
Pardon?
Shez was on The Voice recently, you know The Voice?
On The Voice, with Cheryl?
Yeah, I think Shezar, is that Cheryl, really?
Yeah, Timmy's sister.
She calls herself Shezar.
Shezar, right. Okay, that's beautiful. Yeah. How did she do on there?
She did really well. I think she got towards the end, yeah.
Lovely. Yes, and anyway, so we had to write a song. And so she was really enthusiastic about writing her first love. I was enthusiastic about writing something because I love songwriting too. So, okay, ladies first, okay, we go. And then she was writing and she came to a part where she got stuck. So I just put in the bridge there, you know what I mean? You know, the bridge, which was, I know, was it, it was called, My First Love, and I know this love has come to an end. Although it fills my heart with pain, you know, the sound of your name, you know, is such a sweet refrain. Something like that. I can't remember exactly, but yes, I will remember after I've come off the air, of course. But and we had that produced, and the album everybody contributed in the class, rappers, all that sort of thing, and I actually performed, and actually the album, I asked the tutor to listen to my album that I was doing separately, and he added the Walk of Shame to that album that we were doing for the business class, and and they called it, what did they call it, what, ology, urbanology or something like that. And we had people on there like Shola Ama and another one or two famous people. But I was so impressed by Labyrinth at the time, where I just knew him as Timmy then, you know, and because he worked on our track, and I said, this guy's a genius. You know, he just gone and he put on the bass and then he put on the strings and he put on the drums and I said, man, you know, I just loved it.
The whole family is very musical.
Very talented, you know, very, very talented. And I actually wanted to invite him to come and work on some of my tracks, but somehow I lost his mother's number and I couldn't, you know, I just couldn't make the connection. But I was hungry to have him come on some of those tracks with me, but it didn't happen. And then very soon after that, not long after that, it just blew up. And Mark, the tutor, was his manager at the time. And Mark had opened up a recording studio in the Chocolate Factory building. You know, and so on and so on.
They even had a restaurant there for a little while in the Chocolate Factory, One of my friends owned it with him.
Well, there you go. So you know I'm not lying.
No, of course. Definitely.
So we
okay, so this is now like you're 51 at this point?
Yes, I'm 50 basically.
50, okay, so now you're aiming into your music career, moving away from the addiction. And how long was you clean for? That's my question.
Well, I went on for years. I kept clean and sober for many years. I would have what you call a slip where I had a drink or something. You know what I mean? But I didn't go back full blown into it, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I definitely, and I've really kept clean and sober ever since, basically.
That's nice. And so now that we've told people the story, the next few episodes will be on the steps, different steps that you took. different things that push you towards relapsing, different things that things that can help people to get out the hole.
Yeah.
And get out of the repetitive.
Yeah,
cycle.
out of that, yeah. That hamster on the wheel kind of.
The hands on the wheel. But your story pretty much helps people get out of it. You know what I mean? To see the ups and downs that you went through.
Yes.
And the honesty that you're giving them.